Hi, I'm Drew.
And I'm Sam.
And welcome to Drewling Samantics.
Hello, mate. How you do? Oh God, what's happened? You look like you've lost a fiver and found a penny, mate. What's going on? Are you all right?
Mate, it's the last episode.
Right. Okay. You are not wrong. It is the last brand new episode of season 9. However, I'm going to point you towards a couple of things here. It's episode 13. There are 15 in a season. We've still got best of guests and best of us for season 9. Oh, he's perking up a little bit now. We're starting. And
Hey.
we're going to have a fun Christmas, do lots of stuff. And then we'll be back in January with season 10, you nana.
Double figures.
Yeah. See, it was easy as that to cheer you up and
Double figures. Lovely.
Yeah, we're gonna be old. I mean, I might have to ask some advice in that respect because you've been there for a while. But as mate, is evident from your current facial appendage.
I thought you might mention that. Yeah.
I mean, it's a little bit of growth since last we saw.
Yeah.
And I'm guessing it's for Christmas purposes. And I think it's safe to say, mate, when it's long enough, when it grows out a bit more, it might be just in time for you to do Christmas next bloody year. You're going to have to pick up the pace. Come on now.
No, I thought I'd give it a go because I was working. I mean, last year, when I grew up before, I had plenty of time. This year I haven't had because I've had bookings and gigs and filming. So I wasn't able to sort of stop shaving. Yeah. So if it isn't long enough, I have very, very, very many fake beards that will go on instead.
Fair enough. But no, it's definitely worth a try. And it does suit, mate. I mean, once it gets a bit bushier, I think it might look a bit odd. I
might look like a mini Robinson Crusoe, but yeah, you know.
Yeah, absolutely. But anyway, a cheers to you, mate. And I'm glad that
cheers, mate.
To cheer you up since about 30 seconds ago. But yeah, cheers all.
We're good.
We are indeed. So yeah, lots going on your end, I suppose. Then, despite
very, very, very busy. Yeah, we're putting everything together now. We've got cast in place, scripts are going out, things are being built, beards are being grown. So yeah, we're just revving up now for the kickoff, which I'm really looking forward to.
It's mad, isn't it? You hit November, and all of a sudden, it's kind of like, shit, Christmas. In fact, it's safe to say, like, obviously October feels like it was ages ago. It's a week and a bit. It's not that long ago, but
no,
it's the 31st of October hits, and particularly for you because you obviously do a lot of Halloween events and stuff, and you kind of go, it's Halloween, and then it's the 1st of November. You're like, Halloween, what? Gone? We've been forgotten.
Christmas then.
Mate,
yeah,
the shops are the one, aren't they? I don't know how they manage it. They must have every member of staff in overnight, like post Halloween. And they must all be at parties. So you can imagine, like, people wandering around all these supermarkets and whatever, dressed as God knows what characters and scary things, stuck in shelves. Because you go into a shop on the 1st of November and Halloween's forgotten, other than like a reduced section where they're like, oh shit, we got to get rid of the sweets and the themed stuff, like the
anything orange and black into the sale.
It's gone. Replaced by red and gold. Christmas is on red, green, and gold.
Red, green, and gold.
It's incredible, isn't it?
I know.
Madness. And absolutely, from our perspective as well, now you're already full flow, like prepping things. I'm on the countdown to Panto rehearsals starting, and social media's gone mad with Panto stuff and all that sort of. Yeah, it's a weird end to a year, I suppose, but actually it's the one we're used to across the board. But
yeah, it's very strange as well, seeing it from the other side almost. And I mean, I've directed Panto, and you start talking about things in July, and the producer puts everything in place, and then someone gives you a call. Okay, ready to start rehearsals, and you go. But it is interesting to look at it from that, as you mentioned, of that changeover, the shops. And I think we've become more aware of it now. I think people actually see the mechanics. You get people saying, look, why are they playing Christmas songs? It's only November and blah, 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 blah. But I mean, no, things start early. I mean, Halloween starts early. I mean, strangely, within that, there is a celebration that almost went for nothing this year, and that was November the 5th.
Yeah, actually, that's. I mean,
and
I don't think the weather helped. So
well, no, it doesn't. But I think it's one or two things. But I mean, Halloween is almost super sick. Because when I was a kid, bonfire night was the thing. We were making guys and penny for the guy and all that sort of stuff, which probably can't happen now because of kids on the street. You probably get done for trading laws. They'd be arrested. They would. You'd get some jobs worth reporting a child for trading without a license because he's penny for the guy. Something stupid. But I mean,
how far is that from Halloween being glorified begging, mate? Like basically, give me some sweeties or I'll do something nasty to you.
I'll egg your windows. Yeah. But it's really it hadn't struck me. But I was sitting the other night going, I don't hear so many fireworks, which is good, bad thing if you've got pets and dogs and cats and things like that and the environment. But also it was just like how times have changed, how something really commercial, and also Guy Fawkes is a very English thing. That was a very particular British celebration, for want of a better word. But obviously Halloween it's global.
It is. Yeah, I mean, it's quite the way it's now becoming over here is quite Americanized, isn't it? Because it's massive over there. Like every house and every single person gets involved, whereas here it's quite a selective thing. Some people do, some people don't. But I think it's becoming more of this big commercial event like the American style.
And also it's dipped into our profession because there are you see immersive events. They're looking for scare actors. They're looking for and you think, wow, it's become in some respects theatrical. I mean, we put at the Watermill, we put themed events on. We had themed puppet shows, and it's like it's extraordinary how it has become that big and almost quashed the 5th of November. It's extraordinary.
Well, the lovely Rebecca Grace we had on the show a few seasons back, stunning makeup artist. She's enormously busy. So obviously we see all her social media stuff. Over Halloween, she's solidly booked out because people go to parties and she's doing all sorts. She obviously specialises in like the gore and special effects and stuff. She is majorly busy. So I guess what an intriguing change going from being busy with mainly wedding-y stuff, I guess, over the summer months, and obviously she does a lot of theatre and other stuff in between, but then hit Halloween and all of a sudden it's gore fest. So you're right, it does hit, isn't it? All elements of our little theatrical performance-y world, entertainment. And everything's themed but intriguing that, as you say, fireworks perhaps are sort of taking a bit of a back burner. But there we go. What an insight into what we do. I mean, we talked before, didn't we, about how our work can be quite seasonal when it gets busy and quiet and moves through the times.
Yeah.
This certainly is not a quiet period of the year, I think it's safe to say.
The massive turnaround. Yeah.
It is.
All good fun.
And not to drop from the fun and cheerfulness, but there was something in particular that I wanted to talk about today. And it sort of runs on from our episode a couple of weeks back, where anyone that tuned in will know that we, as we normally do, or I say normally, as we try and do when we can, we will reference the sad passing of any superstars or any people who are very influential in our field of work, and we try and celebrate those people. Now, a couple of weeks ago, we did that. We recorded our episode, and then very sadly, as we were sort of in the editing stage and had already recorded most of the material and were sort of putting together the final episode, we were made aware of a couple more. people who had passed, who we felt we really needed to mention. And so I did sort of a supplementary. I just got back from the gym, actually, so it was a bit sort of higgledy-piggledy. It wasn't up to the normal standard with signs and foliage and theatre of dreams, sofa of dreams. I'm getting all confused now. But so I added in a couple of sort of references because we felt that was necessary. And then on the day the episode was released, we found out about another sad passing of the late, great Mr. Matthew Perry, obviously best known for playing Chandler in Friends. Now, we actually made a conscious decision, and people may have wondered, they may have watched or listened to that episode and gone, well, you deliberately did an extra bit to add in about a couple of others. Why didn't you mention Matthew Perry? And as I say, it was actually a conscious decision. We discussed this, and what we decided was we wanted to mention him this week. So we had amazing Gareth on last week, and we didn't want to sort of interrupt his episode too much. So we got to chat to him, which was brilliant. But this week we made a decision that we wanted to go back and talk about Matthew Perry because of the sad circumstances around his death and around his career, I suppose. And that's because he was one of 6 performers who became household names, like global fame. They were all working beforehand, some more successful than others, of course, but it's safe to say that Friends catapulted them into cult status. Absolutely. Probably, and some people might argue, but I would say probably the biggest TV show to come out of America ever. When you look at how it affected the world and how it's still going now and how it's revered and what spawned from it, all the different, like the spin-offs and how the characters have almost become like nouns rather than, do you know what I mean? Like she's a moniker, or he's a
yeah.
It's almost part of our vocabulary because of that. So he was a global superstar, and you might assume that meant life was perfect or life was brilliant because of that. Because when you're working on something that pays so highly, you can want for nothing, or when you've got this adoration across the globe, like how can you possibly be unhappy? But unfortunately, that was certainly not the case, and that's why we wanted to hold off sort of paying our respects to him and mentioning him, because we wanted this opportunity to talk about that side of the industry through sort of using his experiences and mentioning those. So he was an incredibly funny performer, incredibly talented performer, but he struggled with addiction. I think you know a bit more about it, don't you? Because
I mean, as you say, I mean, an enormous star. I mean, he was. I think all those performers, you know, they brought something very special. But I was listening to how he got the role, and how he brought something unique, that uniquely Matthew Perry, to when he was acting. He said the director was and producer saying he had a particular way of putting lines. He had a particular way of phrasing things. That was Matthew Perry. That became Chandler Bing. And he said that was his very, very unique talent. And he put himself under the spotlight. And as you say, biggest sitcom ever. Friends, because they became everyone's friends. And every character in that was uniquely loved, and everybody had their favorite or whatever. But taken as a whole, as you say, it couldn't be ignored. It changed so many things. Without Friends, there would not have been The Big Bang Theory, you know, which again is a massive global success. So they did break the mold in many respects. And Matt Perry, I mean, you could see, and there was a physical change at one point in Matthew Perry. he gained a little bit of weight. He became bloated, and I believe he had. It was after I think it was a jet ski accident, and he was put on painkillers, prescription painkillers, to which he became dependent, addicted, one could say. If he got out of that addiction, but then it drifted into alcohol, which is always, I guess, considered a soft addiction. It's an easy one. You don't have to search for the drug. You can go to the nearest shop and buy it. And with enough application, for whatever reason, enough usage, you become an alcoholic, you become dependent. And that's what happened. And I think he I don't think it ever affected his performance per se, but there was a physical change in him at one point, and it was noticeable. However, his sheer professionalism, and I guess the support of the Friends cast and the family around it, the production family around it, he kept going. I don't think it ever suffered. I did sit there and go, he looks different. He's put a bit of weight on.
Yeah.
Good living. I don't think anybody was aware, any outside that circle, of the situation at that time.
No, I think obviously when the media got hold of stuff, then it became this known fact that he had addiction issues and substance abuse. But it's interesting. I read through some of the stuff he talked about and seen some of the interviews he gave sort of later in life and post Friends. And there's almost a sad irony that he had this addiction, and when you're in addiction, I mean, unfortunately enough, I can say I'm not addicted or haven't suffered that, but from reading things, you become lonely. There's this loneliness surrounded by this need, and there is the urgency to just satisfy that requirement or whatever, to keep ticking that box, to keep upping that level of, be it alcohol, be it painkillers, or whatever it was at that point. So to go from, or to be on screen, this man loved by everyone, but then to have this very lonely life. I mean, as you say, it didn't appear to affect his performance, but those around him were obviously very aware. And he speaks of how he managed to get through performing, but he struggled because he didn't drink while he was working. He would always make sure he didn't drink that, but he would have extreme hangovers when he came in, or by the end of filming, he'd have such an urgency to satisfy that addiction that he'd become withdrawn again, and then he'd have this focal point, and incredibly sad. So he, amongst that, I believe he suffered with some depression because of the loneliness, because of the feeling of you can't do anything, you can't fix this. And it's intriguing. Obviously, he is not an isolated case. Sadly, there are lots of others. I mean, the phenomenal talent that was Robin Williams. Outwardly, the happiest, most entertaining, most full of energy person you could possibly wish to meet. On the inside, distraught, tearing himself apart to the point that sadly he took his own life. And Matthew Perry, obviously the full kind of details will probably never be revealed, which is rightly so. He needs to have some peace and so. But from what I can gather, it got intoxicated, drugs, alcohol, I don't know, and sadly drowned in a hot tub at his property. So these incredible people that bring us such joy and outwardly seem to be just the happiest, most entertaining and brilliant souls, on the inside are crying out for support and feel so alone, and get to the point where they feel they have no choice. And you and I talked about this before off air, and we wanted to mention this because we thank our lucky stars every single day that we get to do a job that we adore and others would kill to do. And we are incredibly fortunate that this is work for us, is a laugh, is enjoyable. But it doesn't mean that there aren't the tough sides to it. I mean, things like being away from home a lot. Some people enjoy traveling and some people like being away. Great. But equally, when you have a family or when you have people that you want to spend time with, being taken away for jobs is tough. It's one of the sacrifices we make. And equally, those who love us, that we're fortunate enough to have in our lives, equally make that sacrifice, which we are eternally grateful for as well. Then you've got things like the not so much on our scale, because we are not global superstars, but the accessibility and readiness of alcohol and drugs. When you are that superstar, everything is parties and public appearances and seeing and the socializing. So it's all there. It's all sort of rammed in your face, and it's kind of like you almost have to take part. That's another weird side of it.
Yeah, it's a dichotomy, isn't it? Because and we've mentioned this before again. So that having that private life, if you have any level of success, you are in demand. You have to be that person. You have to be Matthew Perry, Robin Williams, or whoever you are. And that's wonderful. That's a wonderful life. However, if you're under that amount of scrutiny, you have that much love and adoration heading towards you. If you have a frailty, if you have a weakness, you can't show it. Or if you do, it becomes a failing in this personality. You don't have the room to have to have a private life or a private failure. People go, well, you must be happy. You've got everyone loves you. You've got millions of pounds, dollars, whatever, beautiful homes. You're successful. You're working all the time, blah. But if inside you're going, yeah, but I'm a little bit depressed. I've had problems. I've got a little addiction, a major addiction, a little depression, a major. Where do you go? Who do you talk to go? This is me now, not this celebrity, not the character I portray on screen. This is me feeling human, and that's what we all are at the end of the day. Well, everyone is. We are all human, and everybody should be allowed to have those human failings, those human. Even if you hear sometimes. You see something on social media, it'll say so-and-so rushed off set. And you think, oh, Christ, are they okay? And they've got a very bad cold. They've had to be, they've been rushed off set, go and rest. You think, but, they're not allowed to have a cold. Suddenly it's a big thing. Yeah, holding up filming for a couple of days in a big movie is going to cost. But if your bankable star or whatever is ill, can't perform, then, they want to go away and have a cold. If, however, you got major depression, you're ill you have mental problems, mental health issues, where do you go? How do you, every day you've got to go to the set, every day you've got to go on stage and be Robin Williams in front of thousands of people, be that most amazing spark of life, energy, creativity, and inside you're tearing yourself apart. It happens to all of us, I don't talk about it often because it's not that important, and it was many, many years ago. But my first marriage, I've been married once before, I think I mentioned it, long while ago, we split up. But I was working at the time, and I couldn't concentrate fully on my job. And I think that happens to many, many people. And we should extend this discussion to other people, because we talk about human beings, teachers, plumbers, blah. Everybody's walking around. Not everybody. People are walking around with problems like that. And I think we only appreciate it, and it's sad that we only appreciate that difficulty of dealing with something in one's life when, someone like Matthew Perry passes away. And you get to look at going, oh, wow, everybody, I think it was common knowledge, as you said, that he had health issues, addiction issues, and whatever. But when someone, 54 years of age, someone passes away, it makes you think. But we should be made to think about everyone. That's a very glib thing to say, but it is something that... it does highlight it. And Matthew Perry said, his famous quote is, I'll paraphrase, but when I pass away, I don't want the first thing to be mentioned is friends. I want it to be that I helped people, which is an enormously magnanimous thing to say, but also something that can only be said by someone who knows the difficulties and trials of life.
Well, that's it. He started was it like a recuperation home for men who suffered with
is it Perry House?
Yes,
Perry.
yeah. And
Perry House, yeah,
to help those recovering from addiction, and he wanted to help people because he knew what he'd been through, and he talked about how it's great that counselling exists and support exists, but it's not readily available. A lot of it's expensive. So he was in a fortunate position where, because of his fame and his success, he had money to pay for the best sort of treatments and supports and things like that. Not everyone's got that. So he wanted to help wherever he could, and he did lots for different charities that supported all sorts of different addictions and health issues. But it's really difficult because we are a podcast about theatre, performance, entertainment. So when we talk about things, we try and shape it that way because it makes it relevant for our subject. At no point are we saying, like you've referenced, that this doesn't go beyond. It doesn't just mean that only actors get sad. It's not what we're saying at all. But what we're trying to do is make it relevant for us. We sit in a certain niche. People tune in to us, hopefully, because they want to hear about our side of things. And what we don't want people to ever think is that we're being sort of blinkered and going, well, no, it's only about this. We're well aware it isn't. I referenced a few weeks ago, we were talking about actors that have passed away. There are sadly, devastatingly, thousands of people dying right now due to wars, due to poverty, due to lots of different things. But we can't reference all that because it would kind of defeat the object of what we do. It would take away from our subject matter. And equally, we'd be here forever. And I'm not sure many people will want to tune in just to hear lists and lists of people that have sadly passed away. But we try and keep things relevant. So, yeah, I'm sure we don't need to justify because people completely understand. But I just wanted to say, like, that don't think that we're ever ignoring the real world and just going,
no,
it's all around us. But it's interesting because, and going back to talking about loneliness, with addiction, you feel lonely because this thing is overpowering you. This feeling, it's the strongest part of it. I actually have felt on occasions lonely doing the job I do, and I'm sure you have as well. And people might find that strange, but I think perhaps what isn't always apparent is that, yes, you might do a theatre show where you spend 3 months with some people and you see them every single day and you do hours and hours each day. But then at the end of that, when that finishes, that's it. And we're lucky that we built a friendship working together, and we are still friends now, very close friends now, and we get to see each other on a weekly basis. That doesn't really exist in this world. I mean, yes, if you're doing a massive film, it might be 6 months, a year and a half even, that you're spending so much time with people. But more often than not, you do these jobs, you meet people, they're lovely, you make friends, you get really, and then all of a sudden that doesn't happen anymore, and you don't really speak to those people. So it can be an oddly lonely profession in that these friendship relationships you form can suddenly go from everything to nothing, if that makes sense. So yeah, it's interesting because there is a people say I get the end of job blues. You finish a job very often. I mean, you need a couple of days to relax, or even just get home. Like you say, if you're on tour, you get home, you have to unpack, you have to get back to your life, and also you get that sort of like, sometimes you go, I haven't got a job now, I haven't got something to go on to, but so there is that. Again, I've got to start looking at my job. You're only as good as your last job, and that often comes up into actors' conversations. And there is and then there's been that putting yourself emotionally on the line. I mean, to the layman, to the outsider, it's like, oh, please, it's only acting. But if you get nervous before a show, if one gets nervous and you go out there and do it every night, you go through those nerves, you deal with that.
it could be an extremely physical role. It could be a emotionally draining role. But you put yourself through that, okay, it's only brain surgery. Nobody died. And well, people do. But, you have to end that. That ends. And then you go, well, what do I do now?
Yeah.
People do get depressed, and people do find it difficult to deal with. Most of us, 99.99% of the time, we all go, it's fine. I'll go back to whatever. I'll get another job. But there is that moment, and there is those moments on tour. I was working with quite a few years ago, working with a young actor, and I said, it was a Sunday off, and I said, do you want to meet for Sunday lunch? And he went, oh God, yes, please. And I went, you all right? And it was about 4 weeks in, and we'd rehearsed and we were up and running, and we were all enjoying it. But then there's that, right, we've just got to do the job now. And he said, I am so homesick. He said, I'm loving you guys. I'm loving doing the show. He said, but I go home, and he said, I make no. He said, I won't hide the fact. He said, I had a little cry last night. He said, I'm nearly 30. He said, I haven't worked away much from home. He said, and I had a little cry. And I went, brilliant. I said, great. I said, but if you feel like that, just ring someone, and that's the essence, isn't it? It's that talk to someone, it's having someone to talk to.
I think we're very lucky in this technological age, and no, we are lucky despite how much you hate it. But we can do video calling. We can chat instantly with people.
Yeah.
We can send pictures, videos. We can do all these things that perhaps going back to the dark ages when you were in your early 50s, we couldn't do these things. But it's not a substitution for being at home with the ones you love. Like that, I love what I do, but it doesn't mean that when I'm away, I don't go, oh, shit, I wish I was sat on the sofa watching TV with my partner. Like just
Yeah. Oh, absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Yeah.
And we are not ungrateful. That is the thing. I still feel, I pinch myself every day. This is my job. This is what I get to do. But I'm still human as well. And as you say, talking about these things is important. And that goes back and sort of wraps up everything we've been saying today, talking about things, reaching out. If you are lonely, if you are struggling with something, if you are finding something difficult, whether you're an actor, a director, a makeup artist, whatever, or outside of that, as we said, in every other job, it's not a weakness. It's being human. It's being real. So,
and the other side of that as well, if you think you know someone who is having problems, talk to them. Say, are you all right? And if they go, yeah, I'm fine. Okay. If they go, it's like Matthew Perry said, helping people, he valued it, and we valued it. And indeed, if you think about it, and we've said this before, and I won't dwell too long, but that is what we did when we started Drewling Samantics. It was there as a support for you and I and other people, and we've done that all along. We've, it has been a forum to talk and share, and we've gone through nine seasons of that.
We have, and it's not stopping. Our support mechanism, our outlet, our reach out program is not going anywhere. So we mentioned at the beginning, Sad Drew was sad because it's the end of season 9. It is the end of season 9. This is our last season 9 episode where it's just the two of us having a natter. But that merely means that we have exciting things to come. We have Best of Guests next week. Look back over all the top clips from all the incredible people that visited us this season. Then we have the Best of Us. We can go back and look at some of the stupid shit that we've said. Equally, potentially some of the nice things we've said as well.
Yeah.
And then a little bit of a break so we can go and be crazy and do more work than we've ever possibly wanted to do. Oh, excuse me. And then season 10, double figures.
Double figures, mate. Yeah.
Bigger and better than ever. More guests. Amazing guests. More rubbish that we can come out with. More out on the road if we can possibly manage it, because we haven't really done this season. We struggled, but it doesn't matter. We're going to try and do it anyway. And just more everything. Love, support, laughs, silly stories, ridiculousness, everything we can possibly bring. And more beer
More beer.
or tea. But
Tea.
yeah. But
Yeah.
so as always, thank you, everyone, for joining
Thank you.
this past season and beyond. Those of you that have been here from the start, what the fuck is wrong with you? But thank you.
Leave the house.
Yeah, find something else to do. But no, there is so much more to come. Join us next week for Best of Guests and the week after that for Best of Us. We're so excited about those episodes because they're just the stuff that's in them. Like, you look back and you go, "Oh my god, I'd forgotten about that."
I forgot that.
Yeah. So please do tune in for those. Just I cannot wait for season 10 as well. It's so much to come. So excited. So yeah, don't miss it. Thank you all, and we'll see you soon. Take care.
See you soon, everyone. Bye-bye.
Thanks again for watching this episode of Drewling Samantics.
Please make sure you subscribe to our channel and turn on notifications so you never miss a new video.
Don't forget, we're also available as audio only. Just search Drewling Samantics in any good podcast app. And please support us on social media. All our links and handles are on screen now.
We love welcoming new followers and subscribers, so why not share with your family and friends so they can join in too? Thanks very much. See you next time.